Growing up, The Death of Superman was one of those comic books that made me a comic book fan. I had the action figures, the 418-page novel, the black bag comic with the wristbands, the cards, all the comics from the first print to the last. I even had the white bag with his return on it. Hell, I even played the video game and beat it. I really followed The Death of Superman with a sense of compassion, not only for Superman's loved ones, but for the superheroes who he fought with every day. I mean, the coolest part about The Death of Superman is that everyone around you knew about it.
This week when DC Comics killed off the Man of Steel in a bout with an underworld villain.
If you were one of the few lucky ones to get a first printing, you got a card, a wristband, and an obituary all wrapped up in a cool black bag. It was a serious thing. The only sad part about it is that there were so many reprintings that the comic book is pretty much worthless in value. But what is amazing is that it's one of the things that you learn about Superman first, and it's one of the most historic, epic stories in history. So when I found out that they were doing a Death of Superman animated movie, I literally shit my fucking pants. Just think of the possibilities. This could make an epic 3-part trilogy covering the death of Superman, Funeral for a Friend, and the reign of Superman. It has a chance to be the greatest superhero animated movie to grace your TV set. I mean, one of the greatest teasers to ever happen to comic books was when Doomsday continued to beat his way out of the ground. Each month we waited for teaser after teaser to see the man that would end up killing Superman, until Superman 18, in which he finally escapes. How do we know this guy's the villain? Well, that's the sad part. As a deer approaches, he doesn't hesitate to snap its neck. I mean, that's pretty brutal, right? Because, I mean, you could tell right off the bat that he's here to kick some fucking ass. As the Justice League pass by, the battle begins, but it ends quickly as Guy Garner tries to rush in on Doomsday, getting his face smashed into the ground. And then the Blue Beetle gets tossed around like a little bitch. I mean, I could still feel that punch that Booster Gold took from Doomsday and how he begged for his life like a little bitch right before getting his head slammed into a car door. I mean, it's not all brutal violence. There's one very emotional scene where you feel like Superman may not be able to save a young boy named Mitchell while his mother and his baby sister are getting burned alive in their house. I mean, it's like they wrote these books for the big screen. I mean, they even included a cameo from Hulk Hogan on page 8 in Action Comics 684.
Oh yeah, it's been hard to live with, man. But inside, man, I've been scarred for one long year. Everywhere I go, man, all the little Hulksters ask me, is there any truth to the fact we're gonna wipe all that controversy out with the whole world watching? I'm gonna prove, brother, when you're fresh as a daisy and all my Hulkamaniacs, they're gonna feel it too.
All around the world.
But if you looked in their eyes, man, have you seen the fear in all those little Hulksters? They realize from New York down to Tampa, Florida, the fault line is gonna break off. Hang on to the wife and kids, dog paddle with his life all the way to safety as they sink to the bottom of the sea. Thank God Donald Trump's a Hulkamaniac. If something happens, you run out of gas, and all those little Hulkamaniacs run out of gas, just hang on to the largest back in the world, and I'll dog paddle us, backstroke all of us to safety.
Oh, and thank you, Hulk Hogan. Let's get back to action.
What was most exciting about the comic book was the aftermath. I pictured a sequel could be made following how the Justice League members felt and how they're dealing with Superman's death. I mean, each person took it their own way, and this was a story that would change the DC universe for decades. And this was before Superboy went emo and broody. Back then he used to be cool and confident. This was a time when we got a chance to get wrapped into the story of a world without a Superman, and an introduction to 4 mysterious Supermen. Hell, we even got Shaq as a superhero.
Hey, move out the way, fool! It's our hood! Yeah.
Now put the gun down and there won't be any trouble. Sonic is forward. It's hammer time.
This was way before Marvel's universe destroyed DC by combining the two. I mean, this was even before Samuel L. Jackson became Nick Fury. We even had a big bearded Lex Luthor and a shape-shifting Supergirl. Throughout it all, we got a great ending. I mean, it really showed the heart of Superman. This was his final stand and his rebirth as a legend. So what the fuck happened? So did the writers and animators hire a bunch of pot-smoking douchebag interns who beat up people who read comics?
Like when the Cabbage Patch Dolls came out, women screamed and said, "Oh, I gotta have that, because somebody gave up their issue." And women just throwing things and everything. It was incredible. I wanted to run out of there and just kind of duck my head and stuff.
It's like their first day on the job, they were ordered to pull down their pants and rub their ass across the most historic thing to ever happen to Superman. I mean, I love what they did with the DC animated universe. This, my friends, is the motherfucking dingleberry, because it leaves a pain in your fucking ass the first time you watch it. I mean, I really hope that DC and Warner Brothers get the fucking ass herpes knowing that they disrespected Superman like this. I mean, it was worse than Batman the Animated Series becoming Gotham Knights or the New Adventures of Batman. I know it's necessary to ignore things like Jason Todd, but why would you sign off on the death of Superman and the return of Superman without the Justice League? I mean, even Dean Cain had better respect for the character than this. I mean, I must say, I really love what DC was trying to do, but god damn it, why did you take my childhood memories and beat the living shit out of them?
We had so much unfinished business.
The first thing that pissed me off about this movie happened before it even come out. The fucktards that created this piece of shit were making a Superman film where he was the only superhero on Earth. Are you fucking kidding me? No Justice League, no superhero cameos, and no superheroes at the funeral? You have to be fucking kidding me. You can argue with me all you want, but the death of Superman was more than just Superman losing a fight. Watching all the superheroes fighting and failing was what made it so special. Because there was only one man on a planet of superheroes strong enough to take down a monster known as Doomsday.
This is Snapper Carr, returning to our continuing coverage of the death of Superman. I'm here at First Metropolis Cathedral, where just hours from now, services will be held for the world's greatest hero. In addition to friends, colleagues, and loved ones, heads of state from over 400 countries are expected to attend today. In the streets of Metropolis, as in cities all over the world, thousands have gathered to pay their last respects to the Man of Steel. Our all-day live coverage will conclude following Superman's ceremonial interment later this evening. Afterwards, our panel of commentators and pundits will debate the question on everyone's lips: without Superman, can there be a Justice League? Our coverage of the death of Superman will continue.
Let's just finish this shit. So Superman shows up to fight his clone, and well, I guess they have an epic oil wrestling battle.